Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of Ryuohmaru. Now this is from the latest series of the Machine Creator Wataru series, and once again this is keep in mind this is not Ryujinmaru, this is Ryuohmaru, which is basically the power-up version of Ryujinmaru. Now, for those who grew up watching the original series, obviously now there was Ryujinmaru, and the names are the same, Ryujinmaru, Ryuohmaru. So basically Ryuohmaru is also, once again, in the old series as well, was a powered-up version or upgraded version of Ryujinmaru as well. So that I believe that was the final form of the original one. Now, because I never really watched the original series, I actually watched the later last series of the before this one, so the information I have myself is slightly limited and it might be a little bit different as well. Anyway, so yeah, once again I never actually got Ryujinmaru because it was sold out, but they had Ryuohmaru, so which is why I got this as well. So anyway, let's see what we got. So once again, despite how this may look a little bit different in terms of color scheme as well and design from the original Ryuohmaru, but once again I do see some of its reference here and there. And once again, I apologize for the lack of turntable. Once again, I forgot to bring it back from work, so oh well. Maybe I should get a second one just to make sure I have a backup. Alright, so once again, the review is going to be pretty simple. We'll be going over its components, articulation, and other details as well. And before we start off, so far I think I reviewed about 4 kits and I haven't gotten everything. So obviously there's I don't have the original Ryujinmaru, and then I think there was a water dragon theme. I forgot the name, but I know what it looks like. So there's 2 of those designs which I don't think I'm getting, but I do want to get raijinmaru and enjoumaru, which is basically the latest 2 revealed and announced, which are the enemy units. Alright, so before we go into any details and articulation, let's go over size comparison. So once again, for those who haven't tried these, these are not SD level kits. I would say these are more HD level kits. So if you build any Gunpla HD kits, you should be good to go. And to give you a quick size comparison, here is a 1:144 scale typical Gunpla kit, and here we have Ryuohmaru. Now keep in mind, the kits, as you saw in the box, do not mention or show any build level thing. So there's no scale or build level mentioned, so that's why I mentioned as Ryuohmaru, not like HG or Ryuohmaru or anything like that. So that is a little bit of a tricky part, but once again, just keep that in mind. The build level is HG level as well, and size wise, obviously it's much shorter than a typical mobile suit out there, or Gunpla kit out there, 1:144 scale. But keep in mind, even in the real series, if you play Super Robot Wars or anything, you can definitely tell the height difference does exist as well. So these machine units are technically more on the shorter side, so I would assume being shorter than a mobile suit would be much normal and typical as well. Alright, so here regarding components, everything you see is what you get. So here we have all the main unit. We only get 1 set of hands, which are the multi-purpose hands, and we get its blade or its sword. Now the original Ryujinmaru sword would be yellow and goldish. Now this one actually turns into a clear blue color once it's powered up as well, and it can be actually stored into the back as well, which is slightly trickier than you think, and the angle does not really match the way you see in the anime or the way you think it does, so keep that in mind. And once again, I almost forgot to mention regarding leftover pieces, so for those who have been watching my review for a while, once again, this thing still exists. So I think at this point I'm going to assume this is from Ryujinmaru, because he has this crossbow edge weapon that he carries and does attach, and I'm assuming that this is the handle for that. Alright, so let's see what we got. Now another thing, there is no polycaps here. Everything is plastic joints. Number 2, everything you see in terms of color, part separation, color separation, everything is part and color separated. There is no sticker on this kit, so that is amazing. Let's see how this goes. Alright, let's start with the head. Now once again, it may look, the overall style and design may be different compared to the original Ryuohmaru, but the head style and design is definitely a reference to it. The overall black plate on the head, and then a little bit more extra horns and becoming longer. I think it definitely resembles the original Ryuohmaru. Now, once again, I don't have any products that to represent it, but I have seen it in the anime or in the games. So yeah. So once again, the overall build structure is pretty much the same as my previous reviews, like Fujimaru as well. So it does retain all the same structures as well. So once again, head can go down that much, up not so much, because there's because of the overall design, but once again, because it is on a ball joint, you should be able to go left and right. 360 twist is not going to be possible because there is a lot of stuff obstructing the way. Alright, now once again, color / part separated pieces on these dragons. If this were to be an SD kit, these would be all stickers, but no, these are all separated, so a really clean build. And once again, the shoulders still retain the butterfly joints. You can see you can go forward and backward, and the joint itself is connected as a ball joint, so 360 twist is possible. And then these dragon heads on the side works as propulsion or as weapons as well. So you can move it to the side a little bit like that, or you can pop them out and use them as weapons by attaching onto the hand, which of course involves taking out the hands. But despite that, going to the side roughly about 90 degrees is possible, and then because of the structure, 360 twist is possible as well, and then a nice 90-degree bend is possible as well. And then I believe the lower arm should have a little bit of wiggle, but once again, not really ideal. And the hands are the jointed hands, but once again, a plastic joint with a peg here, so keep in mind on the process, you might accidentally pop that plastic ball joint out there, but it shouldn't be a problem by putting it back in. So hands are your typical hands we've seen so far, and then here we have the dragon heads. Now in the anime, he uses this in various ways. So he sometimes uses this as a like to fire projectiles like this, or he can use it to fly around, because in this form now he gains the ability to fly around with the dragon heads opening up their mouths and then using as propulsion. But there's also another move that he can actually detach the hands in from kit wise, and then you can attach it to the arms where the hands were, and then now you have like a dragon fist weapon that which he does actually use in the show, which also basically is firing from a powerful projectile as well. Alright, so let me just take that off just for the sake of it. And then for the main body, once again, you have all these white, red, and yellowish gold color, all parts separated. Well done. You have a nice, very nice ab crunch going on here. 360 twist, I would say not really ideal, but in theory it should be possible if you take out a few kit parts. But once again, without doing anything else, you can go roughly about 80 degrees to the side on each way, so that's pretty good. And then the legs are your same typical structure where the ball joint is connected, so not exactly a side swell, but because it is a ball joint, you do have a little bit of wiggle room here as well. And then on the knees, you have these clear blue plastic that is pretty well done. So going forward, not so much, 90 degrees not so much, because there is a lot of parts like colliding with each other. Going back is also possible because there's nothing blocking the way. Going to the side, this is as far as you go because that's how much the ball joint will allow to go up there. From there, it's going to be obstructed, so yeah. And the feet are also ball jointed feet, but once again a plastic ball joint. So the way how this works is that you can see there's a joint here, there's a connection here, and then the bottom section here is a ball joint connection, so which is why it's pretty stiff. So do be careful and try not to force anything, because if you're maybe giving it a bit too much force, then you might snap it off. And then here we have the toes or feet. Now the build process is telling you to that it was a really odd process. They make you put it in and then push it back in. I'm not sure why, but basically these two blue tabs lock these toes in place. So, and I may have reverse the feet as well, but my bad, because at first I thought the toes were actually in the same section. But once again, really depends on how you do things. All right, now let's look at the back here. So the way how the sword connects to the back is that you actually sheath it in. So they actually give you this cover, which is actually pretty clever when you think about it. So the sheath, oops, sorry about that. Sometimes like balancing these kits could be tricky. So behind this back piece, you can see there is actually a sheath here, which is also connected to a peg. Yeah, so it's a double-sided peg, so I don't think there's a front or back. But the way how this works is you just basically plug it in to the sheath, like that, and you're good to go. Now, of course, it does technically lock into place if you push it in all the way through, so it's locked in place. And if you look at the back, there's 3 holes here, but obviously you gotta use the middle one, so like that. So keep in mind, it's only being held by a single peg there, so this may actually wiggle a lot, and depending on the angle of the sword, it may actually collide with the head a lot. So compared to the anime, you might be displaying it a little bit more onto the side like that. But once again, as long as it works for you, it works for you as well. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the kit. I'll be right back with the weapon demonstration, and we'll end it off there. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the demonstration here. So once again, I attach the dragon heads onto the hands. Now keep in mind, you do need to detach the hands and then plug in the dragon heads here. So this is, I believe, is also a very specific move for this unit. So once again, yeah, it's a pretty simple connections here. There's just a peg here and then a hole there, you connect it. And keep in mind, the dragon heads do have also a little bit of wiggle room of articulation here by moving these parts. So you do have a little bit of a control of the angle of the dragon head onto the hand as well. So yeah, works pretty well. And once again, I forgot to mention that this thing does have an action-based joint here, whole connecting point there. So if you want to make it look like it's airborne, you can do that as well. And I double-checked the manual. Actually, the toes, regarding the toes, the bigger one actually needs to go outside. Now, unlike humans, where the bigger ones go onto the inwards, this is not that case. So yeah. Alright, so before we end it off, let's do, just to be sure that I'm showing everything here, is the sword. So once again, because of the sword handle style, you actually need to detach the handguard and then reattach this thing. So, which is slightly annoying, but still works plentiful as well. And you do have a good amount of wiggle room here, but once again, it doesn't wiggle too much. It does not rotate on the top section. Of course, there is a little bit of wiggle room on the bottom section, which means now technically you could hold it with the double hand pose, but once again, because of all the armor design here, obviously there's a lot of obstruct, so there's not much weight to actually hold this like really cleanly onto the front. So actually checking the box, there's only one pose that allows you to do this, is to make sure that he's wheeling up onto the top here right before he slashes his enemies. So yeah, that is the only downside of this. But once again, for its design, its SD style-ish design here, I think they did a pretty good job on in terms of articulation and overall color separation here. So not being able to wield it with the two hands fully, I think I can go past that as well. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the review. This was a review of Ryuohmaru from the Mashin Creator Wataru series as well. So once again, I'm really impressed by the color separation and articulation despite how its SD design looks like. Now, I'm really looking forward for the last two units. I'm assuming they're the last two units in terms of products. So which was enjoumaru and raijinmaru. Hopefully I can get my hands on them and we can also review them. Anyway, that was a review. So if you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.